Blessed be the land. May the spirits of evil never cross this threshold. May we who live in this home guide the sacredness of its doorway.
I saw something today. At least I think I saw it.
What was it?
There are sectors of Etan's followers all over the earth. And even though we may be the very last of men, indignant we remain to the advances of Abaddon.
Spare us and bring us quickly and safely to thy kingdom.
Then let the prophecy be fulfilled. Etan shall bestow upon you a bride, and together you will lead our family in the fight against darkness.
She appears here, as if from thin air. No explanation. No sense of where she was from before.
They tell us that we're alone. But what if we're not?
Those who tread wildly will pay a penance for every careless word they utter.
Let me pray! Reveal thyself and lessen thy punishment!
We share a burden, your father and I, of delivering your souls from their evil embrace. I will tear it from you.
Hi, I'm Dan Slater, and I'm the next guest on Rob's Inner Circle.
Hey, I'm Sarah Taylor, and I'm the next guest on Rob's Inner Circle.
Hi, I'm Adam Booth. I'm the next guest on Rob's Inner Circle.
Don't go anywhere.
Stay right where you are, and we'll be right back.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert D'Alessio, and I'm the host of Rob's Inner Circle, broadcasting live from Montreal, Canada. Thank you to all for joining us, and what is going to be an absolutely exciting show. We have the usual shout-out going out to the producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Jenny Duhame, and to the podcast, thank you on our show, Patty, Lady Starlight, Saragossa. Thank you, girls, for being there and for making this show all that much better. We have a few honorable mentions on our show this evening. Corey DeMeyers and Sammy Horowitz's short film Danny Boy has won the best crime thriller award at the UK Film Review. The film in which Ioannis Koutsoubis participated in on production, Divide, has received a 2021 Award of Distinction at the Canada Shorts Film Festival. Teresa Picciano's short film Maiden Date has won the Best Comedy Short Film at the Sweet Democracy Film Festival. And finally, the short film in which Andrew B. plays Mute. Well, that has received the Award of Commendation at the Canada Shorts Film Festival. Congratulations to you all on behalf of myself, Patty, and Jenny. It's a job very, very well done. Just goes to show all of the talent that we have here in Canada. It just makes me so proud, and I'm enjoying this moment right now. The podcast that I co-host with the amazing Esther B. is up and running on the Access Internet radio service, and you can catch our show every Saturday between noon and 3 p.m. You can come and chat with us by clicking on the Rock and Chat thumbnail, and you could do that by going to accessradio.ca. That's every Saturday between noon and 3, noon hour out of the box. The Daily Struggle sitcom is up and running on the Rise Up TV channel. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun, a lot of modern comedy. You can compare it to one of these shows like Everybody Loves Raymond. There's a lot of ingredients incorporated in there. It's a lot of fun. So you can come on and watch our show, encourage us. And all you need to do is to be on the Roku streaming service. If you don't have the Roku streaming stick, very easy. You can get one for as little as $30 by going on to Amazon.ca. All the Rob's Inner Circle merchandise is readily available at 514brandingco.com. That's 514brandingco.com. We have a lot of amazing collectible items that you're just going to love. We encourage you to go onto the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, click onto the playlist, watch our productions. You want to like, you want to do your comments, you want to share, but most of all, subscribe to the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel and hit that notification bell because you will be the first to know every time there's a new production coming out. Well, folks, it's that time once again. It's time for our weekly ritual. It's time to sit back, relax, take a deep breath, exhale, let out the bad air, kick up your feet on the edge of the table, sit back, enjoy, and let us carry the load. We have a great show for you guys. Folks, it's showtime. Let's get it on. We have 3 amazing guests on our show tonight. They're very talented Canadian filmmakers. Without further ado, let us bring on our first guest, director Dan Slater.
Hey,
Dan, thank you so
having
much.
me.
Thank you so much for being on Rob's Inner Circle.
I'm excited to be here.
Let's go on to our second guest, operations manager, the lovely Sara Taylor. Sara, so glad to have you on our show. Thank you so much for being here.
So happy to be here.
And last but not least, the producer of The Family, who worked very well with these 2 amazing guests, producer Adam Booth. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for being there.
Thanks for having us. It's great to be here. It's always nice to talk about a movie you made, especially when it just came out. So happy.
Fantastic. And we have a fan over here already tuning in. That's TO Guy 777.
Oh, big shout out to you, whoever you are.
Can you make it a little bit easier?
We're excited.
Can you make it a little bit easier to identify yourself, TO 777? There's Esther Brzezinski, another amazing actress. She's also my co-host on the Noon Hour Out of the Box. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. So let's get on with the show because we have a lot of questions to ask over here. So let's go to Dan first. So Dan, as the director of The Family, what is it that inspired you to make such a film?
Well, me and Adam have been working together for years, almost a decade, maybe over a decade. It's hard to tell time these days. And we were talking about our next project, and we were kind of throwing up things on a whiteboard, and we both had this shared experience with religion growing up and wanted to make something about maybe these false religions or cults that were coming around and take advantage of people who were a little vulnerable. So that was something we had in common that we could really draw from. At the same time, I think folk horror has become, a really interesting subgenre. So you're looking at The Witch, looking at Midsummer. We were both really big fans of these, especially in the horror genre. So it's something we wanted to model something after for a while. And then the idea kind of came at the right time, and the movie got made just in time for us to kind of get up and running.
Well, this is one of the better psychological thrillers I have watched, and it has you at the edge of your seat. And you've begun to get a lot of recognition. Well, we're going to continue with Dan here. You got a lot of recognition on this movie.
Well, we've been really lucky. We got to premiere at Busan International in South Korea. I was lucky enough to go. It was my first trip, post-pandemic, which was amazing. Not post-pandemic, but, first thing I was able to go to, which was awesome. When we made this, we knew that it'd be big in places like South Korea and Germany and Europe because they love those kind of tense, slow burn dramas. So we thought it'd be a perfect place to do our world premiere. It's definitely what we were aiming for. And then we just got to do our Canadian premiere at Blood in the Snow. We were the closing night film, which is really awesome. It was the first time that most of the cast and crew had seen it. I think all of the cast and crew had seen it, to be honest. So we never really got a wrap party because of COVID. We never really got to be together very much. So it was such a nice moment to get everybody in a room and watch this thing that we all created because it was such a collaborative process that it was just, really nice to really finally get to see it with everybody that we really enjoyed working with.
So our TO guy 777 has asked when he can ask some questions. Well, Mr. TO, feel free. anytime you want. But not too many questions. We're probably going to keep the bulk of the questions for the end of the show. But during the show, we can take some questions, not a problem. So let's go to Adam right now. Adam, congratulations. You produced this movie and you did a great job.
Thank you.
You and Dan already collaborated on other projects. So what made this collaboration a little different from the rest?
Yeah, so like Dan mentioned, we've been working together for over a decade. We've done dozens of shorts. This is our second feature together. What made this one different, I guess, than the rest of them is we actually wrote it together. So, we worked very hand. Dan was the director of this film, but like throughout the entire pre-production process, we really produced the film together. So we were making all kinds of decisions together, and it was a lot of like hands-on in that moment. So. T.O. guys he's got some great lines. But yeah, no, this one was great. This felt different than the other ones for sure. It felt like a bigger project. It was something that I know Dan and I were both pretty passionate about from the beginning, and we wrote this years before we actually got to make it. So it's something that we got to kind of piece together over about 3 years before we actually got the financing to do it. So it's something that we kind of like built up over time.
So would you care to answer the question that T.O. Guy 77 asked? What is the recipe for the stew that was in the movie?
I think did Lisa make the stew?
No, Mercedes made the stew. So the stew was made just 10 feet from set in a little tiny trailer with a gas stove. And we did have a conversation. Me and Mercedes Coyle was a production designer, and she was making it. And the whole idea was that she made it exactly to what they would have probably eaten, which means no spices, no salt. And I can tell you that the actors weren't super happy with it.
Yeah, and if you saw it, it didn't look all that appetizing. So
it was pretty cold too.
So Adam, you worked together on other projects with Dan. But what would you consider to be your signature project, project, call it whatever, film? What is the signature project that you and Dan worked together?
So before this, we shot a feature film called White Night, which is English for Nuit Blanche, which is a festival that happens in Toronto every year. And it's an ensemble cast following the stories of 6 different people who are it's kind of coming of age for 30-year-olds, we like to say. So that's something that we got to do in 2015. It was really fun. It's something that we shot almost entirely in one night. We had 5 different directors. We had crews just going out throughout the entire city. So that's something that Dan had written, and we produced together all the way through. I got to be one of the characters in it, so I'm one of the storylines. So there was an opportunity for me to do some acting, which was great. I used to do a lot more acting back in the day. So that's something that I'm still really proud of. It didn't have near the budget that we had for this. It was something that we got to put together kind of on our own, and we got to make it the way that we wanted to. Although we got to make this the way we wanted to as well. But I would say that was our big project before this. Something that I'm pretty proud of something that we did together.
Our guests tonight, folks, were curious, so they were asking me, where's the audience from? Well, here's the proof. We have an audience member who has tuned in from Australia, Jess Sorrell 14. Patty, can you put that up for us? Thank you so much, Pat. There you go. She's from Australia.
Hey, Jess.
Hey, Jess.
What time is it in Australia right now?
Well, I think it's like, maybe 15 hours. Jess, how about you answer that question for us? What time is it down under right now?
I guess there's probably lots of time zones in Australia, right?
There you go. And there's Vincent Gargano, another of our good friends. He's a great writer. He's got a lot of movie projects. He's a guy to look out for. So who knows? You never know. You may end up working on the same film.
It's a tiny, small industry here.
It's very small.
Toronto,
we also had Teresa Pichano tuning in. She's a producer from Montreal, another amazing filmmaker. Sara, let's give you a chance to throw a few words in here. So you worked on the Family, and what were your duties on the production of the Family?
Yeah, so I would kind of do anything that needed to be done in that moment. I showed up about halfway through production to check temperatures and to help out on set in terms of making sure everyone was taken care of, giving treats, cleaning, the whole little bit. And then I just didn't leave from there. I've been working with the guys ever since.
And I think it needs to be said that it's pretty incredible that a year ago, Sara showed up on set and was literally doing, just checking people in. And she became so important to what we were doing with the family, with the post-production supervising, with marketing, with getting it to festivals. So we now work with her every single day. She's moved up to be, one of the 4 people in our company that we work with. So it's pretty cool that we met her that way. And it's pretty cool that you made it this far and aren't tired of us yet.
Well,
I just keep waiting for you guys to tell me to go home. I'm just going to keep sticking around. So.
Well, yeah, you asked the question to our friend just down under. It is presently 9:14 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in sunny Australia, because down there it's the opposite of here. It's actually summer. Well, we're facing the
I've been in Australia in December, and it was so weird. There's Christmas trees everywhere, but you're on the beach. It's so bizarre, but also amazing because
I so want to experience that one day. Like it's Christmas and you're on the beach and it's like plus 35.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm okay with that.
So let's go to Dan, and we're gonna have a question for Dan over here. You had an exceptional crew on set. I love the lighting and the colors of the movie. You can actually feel the cold in the scenes. I actually love the effect from the blue light, the lighting. It's the overall lighting, the mood of the movie. You did an exceptional job capturing the moment with that. So tell us exactly what kind of filters you use and how it is that you actually reproduce and making this movie a lot more powerful than it was just with the lighting.
Yeah, I mean, so, we worked with Adam Avrich, who we call Boy Wonder, for his, childish good looks. And we've worked with him forever. He was one of the DPs on White Knight. We've done commercials together. We've done music videos together. He's a genius. He's so good. When me and Adam were pitching this and we were trying to gather a crew, and it's a pretty big jump for us, for getting to this amount of money. But we really wanted to bring the people along with us that we worked with, because they're what make us good. They're the people we really rely on. So, me and Adam, we worked weeks beforehand, really trying to come up with the look of this. We really pushed for big lighting. We had 60-foot cranes on set. We were lighting the entire field. So we wanted 360 lighting. So you could always feel like you were in it. We could turn around at any moment, that we weren't, limited by this axis, so we could really feel the world they're in. We also really wanted to highlight Mercedes Coyle, our production designer's sets, because again, we built these things so that you could look any direction. The cast said it all the time. They felt like they were there when you're standing on this field, when you're sitting in the dinner table. And I mean, it was cold too. It was, all of our sets, even our interior sets were exterior sets. You could see people's breath the whole time. It was a very cold October. So I think all that added to it. I mean, shooting in the rain isn't fun, but it sure does look good. And, all that, the great lighting, the great sets. And then we had Clinton from Art Jail come in and do an incredible color pass. So, it's what you said. It's a great team. You just pick good people and then you rely on them.
Well, one thing I noticed is that this is recurring. Anytime a film is being made, there's always a crew. They're always sticking together. They're always working together. So this is a phenomenon that goes on in just about every crew. So I see that you're working together with Adam, and you also work together with some of the people on the set, and you stick together. And Sara definitely seems to have a future with West Film. So Sara, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? Let's get to know who exactly Sara Taylor is. What's your background, and what were your aspirations as you were growing up?
Yeah, lots of good questions. Who is Sara Taylor? Yeah, as a kid, I don't know if I really had a specific focus. I loved being creative and would make videos and do lots of silly things. I went to school for international development with the hope of, as a young 18-year-old, changing the world. And now that I'm lucky enough to work in film, I think that the medium is a really great platform to have impact and to have influence. So yeah, I was a yoga teacher for a little bit, and still a yoga teacher, I suppose. I don't teach as much anymore, but yeah, a little bit of everything that I've done in the past. So happy to be in this industry and to be working with the team.
So how is it that you met both Adam and Dan?
So I met Adam and Dan through my dear friend Bailey. She's the one who gave me a call to come on set halfway through production. And I literally met Adam while he was on set. And I think I just checked Dan's temperature, was probably the first time that we met. I was thinking about this earlier, Dan, of like, when was the first time we met? And I'm pretty sure it was just me pointing a thermometer at your forehead saying, "Hey, good morning." And here's your signature, and you going off to set. So yeah, it was just kind of we head first landed on set, and yeah, it was super fun, super exciting.
Well, this is an open question for sorry, Dan, were you saying something?
I just walked right by. People had to chase me down for COVID testing. I shouldn't tell people that, but it's true. Because I was living on set. I was living in a trailer. So I would just walk through the back entrance, and then Bailey would come over and give me to sign things, and Sarah would come over and check. I was a little difficult, so I apologize.
No.
Bailey was the production as well.
Yes.
So we have our TO guy 77 who had a question that popped up a couple of minutes ago, and the question was pertaining, here it is. So how was it shooting during COVID? How different was it versus real life? So this is an open question to anybody who wants to answer it.
Yeah, it was tricky for sure. It definitely caused some, not issues, but some things that really need to be taken into consideration. There's obviously additional costs that go into it, additional people that go into it. We were very fortunate out of our crew, which was about just over 50 people every day. We never had one person who tested positive for COVID. We had to send people home every once in a while. Which was difficult because a lot of the productions came back at the same time. We were one of the first productions back. So we did have to send people home. And that's actually how Sarah ended up on set is we were replacing someone for the day. She was only supposed to be there for the one day. And then obviously, as we've mentioned before, she was great. So we kind of kept her coming back. And then long after the movie was over, it's been a year later and she's still coming back. So it was difficult. I think everyone's still getting used to the idea of wearing masks on set. I have no idea what any of the crew looks like still to this day. Everyone was like, as Dan mentioned, it was a cold October. So everyone's bundled up in their Canada Goose jackets or whatever. And then everyone's wearing a mask. And sometimes you see people without their masks. Like, oh, is that what you look like? I had no idea. So it was different. It was challenging, but it was also kind of a learning experience, especially because this was, again, one of our first bigger movies. So to deal with that during, production was a challenge.
So Sarah, you were the COVID coordinator on the set. That must have been quite an experience. And that, I guess that, you carry a huge responsibility with that. And word has it, you did an exceptional job. So how was that experience for you?
Well, I was really fortunate, especially working really closely with Bailey, the production manager. And I think that the process of working in the COVID bubble is just really about mindfulness and, making sure that you're extra cautious and really just creating an environment for people to be safe and for it to be safe. There's always a little bit of that undercurrent of worry, but if you're able to take the proper precautions and be intentional about how you're interacting with other people, then everything was really ran really smoothly. Especially we had the systems and the processes in place, which was great. Made my job easy.
So, folks, we remind you, don't be shy to ask any questions to our guests. They'll be more than obliged. They'll be more than happy. If you want to ask questions of anything to do with what it takes to be an actor, how great a job is it? How fun is it? What are the aspirations? What you can get out of it? Our three guests are going to make, it's going to be their pleasure to answer your questions. So we have an open question over here. Anyone can answer this. Is where and when was this movie shot?
It was shot a year ago, just over a year ago, September, October of 2020, right directly during the, I guess, second wave. And we shot in a place called Rockton, Ontario, which is just between Hamilton and Guelph. Very in the middle of nowhere. We were lucky enough to find that location. We were, looking at houses. We found this old kind of, I don't know, Victorian or just, not the right looking house, but we went to look at it and they're like, no, that's not the right thing. And then they took us to their backyard, which was this huge empty field. And we found this dilapidated, disgusting house that became our home for, 5 weeks. And we completely renovated it. Like we turned it into that. We built everything for this movie. So, but yeah, Rockton, they have one great diner that I don't remember the name of, but it was very good. So you'll find it if you go to the only one.
Well, if anyone go ahead.
That house that Dan was talking about, it was actually a replica built after the I don't know if anyone's seen the show Dallas. I haven't, but there's a show called Dallas, and the guy actually drove to Texas, got the plans, and then came back to Hamilton and built this house on a piece of property.
Really? That's so weird. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's but it looks like it looks like a Texas house. So you put it in the middle of Canada. So it was bizarre, but it's a beautiful house. But it's we didn't actually.
So for all of you who are tuned in, we were on production, if you happen to know the name of that restaurant that Dan is trying to pertain to, just
what was that?
Throw it out there. We want to give a shout out to all amazing businesses and amazing people. So just throw it out there if you remember. So Dan or Adam, you both did some short films for the longest of time. This is your second feature film. Adam, this is your third. Sorry?
This is Dan's third feature, my second.
Okay, so one of you has done a feature film more than the other. All that to say is that what is the transition jumping from a short film to a feature film? Because obviously the mindset, the thinking behind it is that when you're doing a short film, well, you only have, 15, 20 minutes or so, but you're doing a feature film, you have all that time to buy. What is the transition like going from a short film to a feature?
I think that's a really good question. And I think something that people should think of. Honestly, personally, I find short films a lot harder. You have such a tiny window to tell a story. You have a tiny window for filming. And you kind of need to know, you're not getting a lot of content, so you really need to know what it's going to turn into. My experience with the feature film with all of them is that, it evolves as you make it. You write the script, you cast it, which really changes everything. You rewrite with them, you rewrite it again in the editing room. And to be honest, like with a feature, we shot 20 days and, not every day everybody's going to be at their peak. Every day is different, and sometimes you're really battling and sometimes it goes really easy. And so I think the difference is in a movie or a feature film, you really just need to keep the bigger picture in mind as you go, to not get bogged down by the small little things that go wrong, but really just keep going and focusing on the story and focusing on the characters. Whereas a short, you just really need to hone in on that one thing that really makes it. It's such a different art form, really. So I really like doing features over shorts.
So Asia and Europe has received your film very well. What is it that you think is the factor, the element inside the film or elements that is drawing a crowd from Asia and Europe?
Well, I think specifically for South Korea, or something I was told by a lot of the people who were attending, was that they're having this, bit of a renaissance between the younger generation and the older generation with tradition. So, a lot of the questions we got during the Q&A were a lot about, the kids kind of breaking free from these traditions and questioning the parents. And I think that actually really spoke to people there. Even kind of outside the religion aspect, it was more about people just making their own decisions and how hard and scary that can be. So I think that was the real factor that really got to people. And then I think just that we went for a kind of slower creeping dread than, jump scares or gore or that sort of thing. Not that there's not a place for that, but for us, we just wanted the actual acts of these people to be terrifying and not rely on any kind of cheaper scares.
And how has the Canadian audience been receiving this film? Sara?
Yeah, I think there's been a really incredible response to the film, especially we saw it at the Blood in the Snow Festival, having the Toronto premiere. There was a huge turnout, and the response of the audience while they were watching it was just amazing. And people, were really excited about a lot of really cool moments in the movie, which was so great to witness. It was wonderful. It was awesome.
This is an absolutely brilliant movie, and it is certainly going to win awards. I had the honor of watching the movie. I got a sneak preview. I was in the leisure of my own living room, enjoyed the movie, and the actors were just absolutely brilliant. And you have some well-known actors in there. So Adam or Dan, who are the actors who play in the movie?
Yeah, so we have father was played by Nigel Bennett, and he's absolutely incredible. He plays the bad guy so well, and mother, who is also the bad guy in that. So it's the two parents who are kind of these evil, Tony Elwan, and the two of them are just so incredible in the roles because they're honestly the nicest people in the world, and to play such disturbing characters was unbelievable. And then we have Ben Watson, who played Caleb, who won Best Supporting Actor at the Blood in the Snow Film Festival that we premiered in Toronto a couple weeks ago. Jenna Warren, Yasmin McKay, who played Evelyn. Jasmine Warren played Abigail. And then we had we introduced Onyx Spark, who played Elijah, who's only got a couple scenes, but absolutely killed it in those scenes. And it was his first role ever. And he did such an incredible job. And honestly, our cast are what really made this movie. We had a lot of the cinematography is great and a lot of things are great about it, but the cast, I think every time someone mentions this movie to me, they tell me how amazing the cast was.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiana Lynn is Mary. Don't forget.
I'm so sorry. And Kiana Lynn is Mary. I completely forgot. I said I wasn't going to forget anyone.
Yeah, we rehearsed this, and you nailed it in practice.
Of course, that's going to happen when we're live, right?
So, Sara, tell us what the most challenging moment in shooting the family was for you, or the moments for that matter.
In terms of different challenges, just from my perspective, especially being in the production office as well, is just, I think the weather was a big challenge. We talked about COVID being a challenge, but it was really cold for that October, especially this last October. It was so warm. So keeping everybody warm, the guys did a really good job of keeping everybody fed, which I think is key to anything. So we had amazing catering by Food Dudes, and they were so awesome and made sure that we had good food and so warmth and food, I think, from my perspective. I don't know, what do you guys think, Dan and Adam? Any what would you say?
I mean, personally, for me, the hardest part of the family was that I was experiencing end-stage kidney disease while we were shooting it, and then I had to get a kidney transplant 2 weeks after. So that was tricky. But I do got to give it out to everybody, especially Food Dudes, who made me specialty food literally every meal of every. Yeah, I know, Adam. Every meal they made me something special. And then I got to give a shout out to Morrow, our locations manager, who literally built tents around me to keep me warm because I was like 30 pounds lighter than I am now, and I was freezing. I was wearing literally every layer I had.
Yeah.
So I was cold. So anyway, I bring it up only because I was really lucky to get a kidney transplant from a really good friend of mine. But if anybody out there takes anything from this, just become a kidney donor or organ donor on your license. 1,600 people waiting right now for a kidney transplant. So you can be a part of the solution.
Well,
I did go and make myself a donor after you kind of went through this situation. I didn't even consider that there's something that I did have to go in and do. but I did. I went to the Service Ontario. You just check mark a box and you can do it. So it's important.
Super easy.
Well, that's just absolutely beautiful, Adam, and thank you for sharing this with us, Dan.
Yeah, it's part of the story, you know. And I just think, like, you know, I was lucky. I had a whole crew that made sure I didn't pick up a single thing the entire time. So that's why you gotta surround yourself with really good people, because they're there for you when you need them.
So if this movie, this is an open question to anybody. If this movie, because you shoot a movie, you edit it, you watch it and watch it, you go, oh, darn, what if I should have done this, should have done that? Is this the case for this movie? If it were to be reshot, was there something that you would do a little bit differently, just to make the movie a little bit different with what you saw after it was shot?
I mean, the complicated answer is everything, because I think we're all our biggest critics, and that's just how it is. I mean, it's pretty incredible when it all comes together. So it's not like, not taking away from anything, but, you know, it's a million choices you make. The one thing I would do differently, and I really would, anybody making a movie, is like, you know, we had such a really nice interior of that that farmhouse that we built, and then we only shot like 2 days in it. And I just wish I put more outdoor scenes indoors, because then we would have highlighted the art a little bit more, and it would have been easier to light. And, you know, I underestimated how hard it is to shoot outside, especially when the clouds are moving as fast as they were. So that's one thing I'd do differently.
Sara, with all the fun that you witnessed on the set while you were watching this, did this actually open up your appetite for maybe a career in front of the camera?
Well, I am lucky enough that I get to be in some pickup shots, but I think my destiny is behind the camera, more spreadsheet and organizational based. But it's really challenging to be in front of the camera, and I give big kudos to anybody that's brave enough to do it, because it's really hard. It's hard to be an actor.
Well, Sara, you're doing an amazing job tonight. Look at you.
Thanks, Rob.
You must have rehearsed a lot just to be on the show tonight.
I did practice a lot in the mirror. I did a lot in the mirror before the interview.
So, Adam, let's get to know you a little bit better. Adam, where were you born as you were growing up? What were your aspirations? What did you think you were going to be? An astronaut, a teacher, a yoga instructor, maybe a driving instructor? What was it that you were inspiring to be from your early age?
Yeah, so I grew up just in the suburbs outside of Toronto. I was definitely never aspiring to be a yoga teacher. I am the least flexible person for sure. I love the breathing component of it all, but I am not flexible. Although I wish I was. So maybe I should start taking or doing yoga. Yeah, so I grew up in just the suburbs, Pickering, just east of Toronto, and I wanted to be kind of everything. I did everything. I've always kind of loved film. I've loved doing all of this. Actually, growing up, hey Dan. Growing up, I used to do stop animation movies with my friends and with like our wrestling action figures, and we'd use my dad's video camera and do all that, and that was really fun. I actually still to this day I would love to do kind of a high budget stop animation project, but nothing's kind of come up for it. But maybe one day. But yeah, then growing up, there's a point where I was going to be a pastor, which kind of led to the idea of my background in religion and how Dan was mentioning we wrote this film, kind of with our experiences from all of that. Then before going to university, I was really interested in getting into marketing and advertising, and that side of things. After I graduated university, wanted to be an actor, which led to producing, which led to all of this.
And then you met Dan, and then you met Sara.
And then we met, yeah. And the team started to come together.
So Dan, let's find out a little about you. Where were you born, and what were your aspirations as you were growing up? And you have something interesting to say. You're a little bit, you're musically inclined, from what I understand.
Yeah, I can play like pretty much anything poorly, which I'm really proud of. I did grow up, I was born in Newmarket, grew up in Mississauga, moved to Toronto as soon as I possibly could. I only ever want to be two things, which is a rock star or an actor. I went to school for acting and realized halfway through that people were better than me at it. And that when they were better, it was really magical and awesome. And I loved being part of the process of making that happen. So I really enjoyed that. I got to be a rock star in my 20s, unsuccessfully, but still really fun. And I honestly think the whole music thing really led to film because, you know, like writing scripts and editing, like it's just music, it's just beats. So I think like it's a really nice, almost grown-up version of what I used to do in my 20s. At some point, I really had to get a job, and this was as close as I was willing to go.
So, and how many bands did you actually end up playing in?
I was in 3 bands in my life, one in high school, which made me very popular. Didn't. I was in a band called Pray for Minge, and then it was renamed Death Valley Yacht Club, and we played dirty funk rock. And we were so fun. The 20s, the 20s were
great times.
Adam was in the front row the whole time, and he was the sweatiest human being anybody's ever seen on a dance floor. And he would hug me after, and I played a full set of drums, and he would hug me and get me more sweaty somehow.
You were pretty sweaty too. You were giving it good on the drums.
Yeah, it's true.
So you also did some stand-in on movie sets, I understand, Dan.
Yeah, which honestly was a really good way of learning how to make movies. So, you know, as a stand-in, you have a really kind of good position of that you're right in the middle of everything, and you're also kind of invisible to everybody. So people make all their decisions around you. They talk about really serious things that they probably should leave you out of. And I learned everything I know about lighting, about blocking, about how to run a set. You know, I got to work with really great actors. One, Vincenzo Natali, unbelievable director. I learned so much from him. Chris Howard was a gaffer that I learned literally everything from, because he would stop what he was doing to tell me how to do things and how to softly light people and how to do backlighting. So, you know, a lot of mentors along the way. And I think getting on-set experience is so important, because you get out of film school and you don't really have any of that. So you just have to be there to see how it's done.
So, Adam, what are your favorite movie genres?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. I love all types of movies. I would say that mostly I go for like drama, comedy, and thriller movies similar to this. I like kind of David Fincher, definitely my favorite director. I love a lot of, you know, Fight Club and Seven, so some of my favorites. But I'm all over the place. I like everything that's you know, if it's good, it's got a good story, it's shot well, and the acting's good. You know, you've got me. Anything with Ryan Reynolds, almost, you know, I think it works. I'm not a huge fan personally of really gory type of movies, you know, especially this being a horror genre type of movie. It's more of a thriller, but yeah, I can't do things like what was it, Hostel, where they're kind of like cutting people and melting people's faces. And it's not, yeah, I get squeamish and stuff like that, so I try to stay away from that as much as I can.
Adam's squeamish in real life too. And you can't watch people eat weird things.
Oh, so you can't go to Thailand.
Yeah, I would probably struggle. I don't eat seafood at all, so like I would probably struggle with the food around the world in general.
Or that time that someone fed you goat brain.
Oh my God!
That was yeah. That was
good.
It was good actually. But then my reaction to it afterwards was I had a hard time mentally dealing with that. Yeah.
Is that afterwards? Is that where the goatee started to grow on you?
Yeah.
So both Adam and Dan, you both enjoyed watching Misery with Kathy Bates. That was a crazy psychological thriller, and you were saying backstage that it played a part somehow in how you were thinking of writing this movie, The Family. So either Adam or Dan, go ahead, take the stage.
Yeah, I think it's actually an influence for both of us, something we talked about. Like, you know, me and Adam went through a lot of movies that we really liked together. And then me and Adam Magic, before, we watched a ton of old movies. So like Silence of the Lambs is another one. We were really kind of into that 80s, 90s feel. You know, personally, I grew up on like a lot of Alfred Hitchcock and Hitchcock Presents. And I just love that like weird, twisted kind of, you know, thriller. So I think, Misery was definitely one of them, which is like a great movie. So you can't find it anywhere. I was trying to rent it the other day.
Yeah, it's you know, especially with the idea of him being trapped in there, it's got a similar kind of feel or vibe. Obviously, a very different movie, but the idea of being trapped and having someone control you and not being able to kind of like do or move for yourself or think for yourself. I think a very similar vibe. It's a great movie. I mean, I think it holds up. It's obviously an older movie, but.
And how about you, Sarah? What is your favorite movie genre?
My go-to is definitely like action comedy. I love like uplifting content, wholesome content. Action comedy I would say would be my go-to. Anything that's funny and a little bit weird, I probably will watch.
So
this movie was definitely wholesome.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, what's coming up for you in terms of working with Adam and Dan? Once again, do you have other projects lined up?
Yeah, absolutely. We have lots of things cooking. We have a couple of features in development right now. One's really, really awesome. It's a female-forward comedy, which is really cool. We are also working on a murder mystery limited TV series that we're really excited about, as well as some docu-series. So stay tuned because there's a lot of really exciting things that we're working on.
I have a question for all of you. Let's say someone is tuned into our show tonight. The person is an aspiring actor or actress. Do you accept headshots, acting CVs? Is there somewhere these people could send this material to you? Because, there's a lot of talent out there. And and it's hard to see. Sometimes these people just come to you. So if someone want to send their acting CV or their headshots, do you accept them?
No.
Oh,
here's why. And I know that sounds mean, but the thing is that, and obviously a lot of people kind of reach out this way, and I think that it's something that'd be really good for younger actors or just starting out to know that reaching out directly to producers is not the best way to submit. Reaching out to directors is generally not the best way to submit, unless honestly it's like, hey, I'm new to the industry, I want to learn some things. Then by all means, I'm happy to sit down and have a coffee or a beer with anybody and talk about the industry. I love it. But there's just a certain way to do things. So the best way to get involved in movies is go find a casting director and be their reader. And then you get to see all these actors come in and they get to do, like, you get to see auditioning and get to see what works and what doesn't. You're also probably top of mind just in case they come up with something and they go, hey, it looks like this person. Think of The Office, and like not Meredith, Phyllis was the reader for the casting director, and she got this great role. So I think there's a really great way that actors can get involved, and I know it sometimes feels a little daunting, but it's really just about being involved in the industry, taking part in certain things. Like, there's always a lot of forums and roundtables and like conferences, and there's really good access for things like that. But just, you should do it in the right way. You should go at people in the right time. Just as like, we're not going to approach sales agents or distributors just cold because they're super busy. So there's just certain ways to go about things, and I think it's best to just immerse yourself naturally as opposed to come selling something.
Well, I'm glad you answered that because also go ahead, Adam. Go.
Yeah, I was gonna say further to that, when we're considering actors and you're considering projects, you're looking for like kind of very specific things for the roles that you're looking for at that time. And a lot of times I think people will send it, but they're, in the case of The Family, they're very specific roles. So to get headshots, it gets lost in the shuffle, to be honest. Like it often won't come back up. So it's more like Dan was saying, like, you want to go find that casting director. Otherwise, we're going to see it and we're going to, that was great. If your CV is great, that might be the thing. But if we're not casting for what you are or who you are, then it just may not have we may not have the opportunity for it. So it's just your best bet is to go to the casting director, find a good agent, and ACTRA Toronto or ACTRA Canada, they have lists of agents that are reputable agents. That's the best way to go do it.
Well, I'm glad to answer that because that's exactly what I was hoping to be gearing towards, and you just nailed it. It's great. It's it's important that you have a good an agent, a manager, who is going to introduce you to all these casting agents and sending you out for all these auditions. It just makes it a lot easier because anyone who wants to be an actor, like, you know, you got to concentrate on learning your lines and getting your headshots and all that. You should leave it up to the agent to submit you for all of these roles. And agents usually know all of the casting agents anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly,
And they know best like what people are looking for. So it just skips a whole step. And they can give you really good advice on, you know, what classes to go to. And I think classes for actors are the best thing they can do. You know, just hone that craft.
There should always be training. Actors should always be training. Even if they're working actors are always training with their coaches, always training with different teachers and classes. So
that's great advice, Jenny.
Casting workbook, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the source to go to.
Yep.
That's where all that.
We use casting workbook to cast when, you know, if we're doing smaller productions that we're not using a casting director, we will cast on casting workbook.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific. So you've shot some music videos in the past. So lots of music videos. Shooting a music video is not as easy as it looks because a lot of times you have to follow the beat of the song, the story of the song. It seems pretty complicated to shoot a music video, or is it?
I think it can be. I think that, you know, a lot of times music videos are where you really try things. You know, we just did 3 music videos in 3 days with a band called the MONOWHALES, who we've done almost all their videos for, and they're good friends and they're unbelievable musicians. So look them up. They're awesome.
Incredible. Yeah.
And we got to push the envelope. You know, we were trying things we've never tried before. Like, it's a looser medium. You know, you can really, there's really no rules to it at all. So like, if you're going to get weird, do it in a music video, and if it works, put that in a film. But yeah, I love them. It's a lot of work. You know, it's always not enough time, and you know, you have a crew that's probably very underpaid and tired. But you know, it's fun because you're doing something that is kind of purely creative, and it is really for the art of it and nothing else. Like, it's not, no one's making money off them. Really, it's really because you want to be there and you really believe in the music. So probably keep doing them as long as the music is good.
Mm-hmm.
So you released the family trailer in September 2021. When do you think that the movie will be coming out? Anytime soon in the new year?
Probably. I mean, I think we're aiming for summer of 2022. So we've just started doing our festival runs. As you mentioned, we've done Busan and we did Blood in the Snow in Toronto. We have a few more festivals that we can't quite announce yet. But we know that our festival lineup goes at least until the summer of 2022. So after the festivals are done, that's when we plan on releasing it to the public.
Well, for the general audience who doesn't necessarily know, why is it that directors, producers present films to festivals first before they actually release them? Isn't it like easier just to shoot the film and just release it? Or is there a reason why you submit it to festivals? What are the benefits of doing that?
Well, it's really fun. I think it's the best. You get to travel to all these places, and then people treat you like you're famous, and then they're all talking about a film that you made. It's really gratifying to go to places that you're getting audiences that are, you know, film lovers, that people who are really going to watch, and really like the questions we got in South Korea were just incredible, in Busan. I think more than that, it's a time to create some buzz for your movie before it comes out. I think if you want a really good distributor, you need to find, you know, just find your niche and find the thing that works for you. And then you're doing their job for them a little bit. Like, you're already creating a little bit of an audience and you're finding where it works. But more than that, you know, with films being digital more, you know, that you get less and less chance to see it on a big screen, and seeing something you made on a big screen is really special. So it's definitely worth doing just for that.
Yeah.
Have any
Dan mentioned the word of mouth, you know. The word of mouth, just like you spend a year at festivals and you build up the reputation of the film. People start to hear about it. So rather than going straight to a platform, you know, it's a year of people hearing the buzz and getting to come on shows like yours, and you know, promoting the movie, and then, you know, builds the anticipation for when it finally does drop.
And of course, let's not forget that while you're there, you get to meet a lot of people. It's all about networking.
Absolutely.
Oh, I remember you. Next thing you know, you end up working together on some kind of project in the distant future.
Yeah, in Busan, it was really interesting because of the COVID, precautions. There's only the directors were allowed to go, so it was only one person from each film. But it was kind of cool because it was just, we all became really close friends because we had no one else. And then it was just really nice to meet other people from all over the world who were doing the same thing you were and coming up against the same roadblocks. And it was nice to just have honest conversations because we weren't in competition with each other at all. We were just all people kind of in a similar path, similar part of our careers. So that was a really, really cool experience. And if anybody ever gets a chance to go to Busan, it is a great festival. They put on such a good festival. So shout out to them.
Have any large streaming services, platforms such as Amazon Prime or maybe Netflix, have they approached you after learning about your film? Because your film is like in the buzz right now. But has there been an interest from these major players that have approached you?
We've been talking to some. We can't actually kind of really talk about a lot of that stuff at the moment. We're still in the the sales process with it all. But the short answer is yes. Short answer is yes. We're talking to the major platforms.
And we wish you the best of luck, and we really hope you're going to get out there because your film deserves. And it's a lot of work. Yeah, you spent 20 days shooting it and not in the best conditions. And I just tip my hat to you. I can just imagine. And Sara was telling me she had to wear these hand warmers holding that boom mic, and it wasn't always easy. It was challenging. So
I just need the hand warmers. So I wasn't doing anything special. Trying to provide warmth,
Warmth with your smile. Just with your smile alone, you can provide a lot of warmth. So how difficult is it getting funding here in Canada to shoot a movie?
It's pretty difficult.
Challenging, yeah.
It's
sure.
it's not the most amount of people doing this, and Adam probably can speak to it more than I can, but it's a small country, so like we all really need to push really hard so that we're getting our culture out there and getting Canadian content. So
we're very fortunate to live in a place that has a great tax credit system. And there's lots of grants here that are available. You just have to put your time in. You have to become known in the industry, and you got to work towards it. And you got to make those connections, and that's what the festivals are for, and that's what the markets are for. You go to that, and you meet the people. There is money here, but it's challenging because making movies is a risk. At the end of the day, no matter whose movie it is, it's a risk. And I've seen interviews recently with Ridley Scott talking about the challenges he's had with getting his newest movie out. So no matter who you are, making movies is a challenge, and someone's got to finance that. So but it's possible. It's absolutely possible. And again, we got a great tax credit system here, so if you can get it, there's money to make movies.
What is your relationship with Patricia Chica?
So she was she did our PR for the film, specifically for the Busan release. She was awesome. She was just so really kind of tailored to it because it's an interesting film, and it's not meant for everybody. It's not meant for every platform. But she really got it and really kind of put us out to like the right people so we could get good reviews, people who like would have a chance of liking it. It definitely something we're learning along this one because we've never really done a lot of PR before. Is how important it is to just get eyeballs to the thing you made. So it was really cool working with her and getting to do things like this and actually talk about it. Again, it's just crazy to talk about something that you once wrote down on a page or a screen. Let's be real. And she was a big part of putting it out there for us.
Yeah, she was great to work with.
Sara, you're also a yoga teacher, or at least you were teaching a little bit more previously. What are the benefits? Well, first of all, what is yoga? To those people who don't know what yoga is, what is yoga?
That's a great question. Yoga is a combination of breath and movement. So it can look different for different bodies. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. That's kind of the short answer of what is yoga. And I forget your other question. Yoga. I got lost in the yoga.
Yeah. What are the benefits of yoga? Yeah.
Yeah, so the benefits are endless. You're really, when you're doing yoga, you want to transition your nervous system to your parasympathetic. So you want to go into your sleep and your rest. So there's lots of benefits: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. We could do a whole other. I could probably talk for like 10 hours about yoga, but that's the quick and dirty of it.
Well, we have a question from our beloved fan, TO Guys 77. Something about an airplane. Patty, can you light that up for us? There we go. Is the plane that goes?
Yeah, I want to say to TO Guy, spoilers on both films, which is really impressive, to be honest, to somehow tie the secret endings of both films together. TO Guy, we come across him sometimes. I don't know him personally. Sometimes I see him just outside my place. I get a little worried, but he has a theory that every one of the movies, it belongs to some sort of Slater verse, as he likes to call it. And I haven't figured out the family fits into it just yet, but I'm sure he will.
I think he just did with the planes.
Yeah.
So an interesting fact, Dan, we're running out of time over here. This hour has flown by. Wow. Before you were in the film business, at one point, Dan, you were working with WestJet, and you had a lot of fun at WestJet.
Yeah, that's the only, I guess, real job I've ever had. And I only had it just so I could get free flights to things. So I would work weekends. I would do 2 doubles, which is 12 hours, but they wouldn't line up. So I'd be at the airport for 20 hours a day for 2 days just to keep my flight benefits. And then when I was off, I'd fly to like Bahamas or Vegas a lot because I was in my early 20s and that's the only places I could think of. And it's also the only places that they went. And yeah, I think I want to say I learned something there. OTP, on-time performance. I guess that still applies. And I would never work there again. But I would say that everybody should at least work for an airline once in their lives because flying places for free is very cool and everybody should get a chance to do it.
So in the closing comments over here, open to all, what advice do you have for our listening audience, aspiring actors, aspiring directors, producers? What advice would you have? It's an open question.
Meet everybody that you can. Go to every event that you can. Talk to everybody that you can. Meet everybody. Go to the events. Go to the markets. Go to the festivals. Even if you don't have a film in the festival, go to it and make things. You got to make things. Make a short. Make a music video. You know, eventually you'll keep adding up, and you know, keep at it. It's tough. You know, we've been doing it for 12 years. Dan and I together, and beyond that, we both started before that. So, you know, you just got to keep moving forward because it's a hard business to be in, and if you want to be in it, you're meant to be in it. You just got to keep pushing forward.
Does anyone else want to have a take on that question? What advice would you have for the film business, actors, producers, directors, or what have you?
I think to add to that, and it kind of goes along with it, is also just get out there and make something. And it doesn't matter if it's bad, and it doesn't matter what you shoot it on. Everybody has an iPhone now. You know, just go out there and learn how to tell a story, because until you make something and then you see it, you can't improve on it. You just have to try. And, you know, I think that goes along with what Adam's saying. Like, the more you're involved, the more people you'll meet and the more you'll learn. So, and it's super fun. Like, it's a really fun thing to do, to be on set and make things with your friends. So, you know, just, I don't think get bogged down with all the, you know, it can be kind of crazy and it can feel really hard, but just like do something you enjoy and then it won't feel as hard. And like the hard days will be easier and then the easy days will be amazing. So,
Sara, you get the last word. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh boy. I think for me, something that I've experienced is just surrounding yourself with just amazing people. I feel really lucky to be part of the team. Dan and Adam are really, they're really humble, but they're really incredible and amazing at what they do. And when you're working together on something amazing, then, you know, like Dan was saying, amazing things happen. And yeah, it's to keep your head down, work hard, but have fun. And I think that's what, you know, we have at West Film here. It's really, really something awesome to be a part of.
Sara, Dan, and Adam, time's up. Unfortunately, this hour has gone by so fast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was really fun.
Yeah, it's great to meet you, and it's really we appreciate someone putting so much time and effort and into other people's work. And what we're saying, just like get out there and watch stuff, Canadian films. And I think you're a big part of that. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Such a pleasure. Do stick around. We have our meet and greet party with the producer and our techie. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. That's coming right up as we close off our show. Thank you to the audience for tuning in. So you guys, if you want to say goodbye to our beloved friends, including TO Guy 77 and Company,
lots of great questions.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you guys soon.
Bye.
Awesome.
Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in to what was an absolutely exciting show. 3 great filmmakers tonight. That was Sara Taylor, Dan Slater, and Adam Booth. Next week, we also have a great show coming your way. We're going to have Dan Del Fiorentino, who's NAM's Industries Oral History Program leader. Be sure to tune in this upcoming Wednesday at noon when Esther Brzezinski and I co-host Noon Hour Out of the Box. This week, we're going to be talking about relationship breakups. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Robert D'Alessio signing out for Rob's Inner Circle, coming to you live from Montreal. Good night, everybody.
Blessed be the land